Paano na?
Tara na!
Okay. One, two. Good day, everyone. We are the group 3 and we are about to discuss the midterm module number 3, the, the environmental impact of oil. Now we all know that the previous the previous reporter have already discussed the importance of the lubricants in the aircraft systems and also discussed the standards of safe handling and proper disposal of these fluids. Tonight we are about to discuss the effects of these types of fluids to the environment and the reason why these standards are kept in are being taught to us. Oil is one of the top pollutants in the world. It is considered as a top pollutant because of the large effects and the little mishandling can cause. Oil Care UK states that 1 million liters of oil can be polluted by 1 liter of oil. Oil Care UK in 2015. Most drains ultimately lead to rivers, wastelands, and reservoirs. Allowing oil to be disposed in drains would likely means that they will reach these bodies of waters. Over half of a million birds die worldwide every year because of oil spills.
So, what is oil spill? An oil spill is a form of pollution where liquid petroleum, hydrocarbons, and similar substances are released to the environment. It can occur both in land and marine ecosystems. This disrupt the ecosystems, causing havoc to the cycles and species therein. So, ang mo explain na ni kay si Baharias.
So, oil does not only affect animal life, it also affects humans. The pollution of oil will render water unsuitable for human consumptions and irrigation. Treatment and cleaning of these water resources affected by oil pollution are also very costly. Fumes of evaporated oil are also toxic and harmful when inhaled by humans. So, toxicity. Oil consists of many different toxic compounds. These toxic compounds can cause severe health problems like heart damage, stunt growth, immune system effects, and even death.
So in this video, we'll be looking at how we can most effectively manage oily waste from the moment it's collected until its final treatment or disposal. So waste management is often a major operation after a large spill, and even a minor spill can create so much waste that it quickly becomes a bottleneck. So let's watch this video.
Globally, we now consume 4 billion tons of oil every year. Oil spills from shipping accidents and offshore blowouts are rare, but when they happen, the impact on the environment, on livelihoods, and on the local economy can be severe. In this series, we'll be asking the key questions. What issues do we need to consider? What expertise and techniques are available? And how do we deliver a well-planned and executed response to minimize impact? In this program, we're going to be looking at the environmental impact of oil spills. From the immediate effects on ecosystems and habitats to prospects for long-term recovery. We've all seen the pictures of dead seabirds and oil-covered wildlife. They're among the most distressing, emotive images associated with oil spills. And while an incident remains in the public eye, these images can influence a great deal of debate and decision-making. But what is the truth about the impact an oil spill can have on the environment? In 1996, the Sea Empress grounded here in Milford Haven, and 10,000 tonnes of oil washed up on the Pembrokeshire shoreline. Many beaches, including Manor Beer, were heavily contaminated. Today, the damage caused by the spill is a distant memory. So what is the actual environmental impact of an oil spill? To answer this, I've enlisted the help of a marine ecologist with 30 years of professional research experience, John Moore. John, tell me about the impact that oil spills have on the environment.
You can't answer that in any simple way because the marine environment is a very complex place. There are large numbers of different habitats, different species, and they can all react very differently to the oil. Many spills look terrible, but many habitats have got very great powers of recovery, rapid recovery. So long-term impacts are actually unusual. Some species are longer lived and recovery may take longer, but the majority will recover quickly.
The nature and duration of a spill's impact depend on a wide range of variables. The cleanup methods used are critical. When the Torrey Canyon ran aground in 1967, the use of industrial detergents with high concentrations of kerosene proved highly toxic to marine life, particularly as they were applied directly to the shoreline. By the time of the Exxon Valdez spill 22 years later, the use of those detergents in spill response had been eliminated. However, it still saw contractors on a number of beaches using hot water to clean the sensitive subarctic shorelines, which added to the overall impact of the spill. Today, the crucial importance of choosing response techniques that work with natural processes is much better understood. The type of oil spill is also a key factor. For instance, refined products such as diesel have a high proportion of toxic compounds which can cause dramatic localized effects such as the mass mortalities of marine life, although these tend to be short-term as these oils are also less persistent. Whereas heavy fuel oil and heavy crude often have more of a smothering effect on marine life and persist longer in the marine environment. But equally important is the type of environment the oil has an impact upon. And when we consider individual habitats and the organisms within them, we need to think in terms of their vulnerability and sensitivity. So taking those one by one, what do we mean by vulnerable? What do we mean by sensitive?
An example of a vulnerable organism might be seaweed on the shoreline. The oil is coming onto that shoreline, and so the seaweed is going to be affected. They're very, very vulnerable. It doesn't necessarily mean it's sensitive. In fact, most seaweeds are not very sensitive to oil. An example of an organism that is not vulnerable would be, say, a deep water coral, and very sensitive, but not very vulnerable because the oil is unlikely to get there.
In a number of countries, shorelines have been mapped in indices attributed to different habitats according to sensitivity. For example, sensitivity atlases accord soft sediment habitats like mangroves or salt marshes a high index, while exposed rocky shores generally feature a low index.
So, according to the video, oil destroys the insulating ability of bearing mammals such as sea otters and water repellency of a bird's feathers, thus exposing these creatures to the harsh elements. What can we do then to solve this issue? So it all comes down to having a waste management strategy in place and learning more. To ensure that waste management is integrated into the overall response strategy, it must be taken into account during the contingency planning stage. So therefore, after a spill, one of the first things you should do is to try to estimate the volume of oil waste that will likely be produced by the occurrence, so that you can plan how to handle those volumes of material. So a well-managed reaction must take into account a range of individual waste streams in order to keep this amount to a minimum A fresh stream is created whenever the oil comes into contact with a different substance. There are different types of oil according to the video, including liquid oil, emulsified oil, oil in the beach, was oil in the beach, then organic material, contaminated fishing gear, and grease protective gear. Effective action will take specific measures for each stream individually. Waste management solutions can be categorized and prioritized according to a well-established framework. Prior to thinking about disposal, the general strategy is to reduce, reuse, and recycle as much as you can.
So, as what our previous reporters discussed, governments and competent authorities around the world have put in place regulations to manage handling and disposal of these substances. So, number one is next, boss. So, number one is the store waste oils separately to other waste. So, this is as a safely precaution. After opening lubricants, dip them upside down in a storage container to ensure minimal oil is left in the bottle or can. Number two is keep all waste in secure areas away from flood risks. Keep waste lubricants in a safe area where flooding is not possible, as this may cause oil to spill and spread to a large area. Number three is the label containers as used oil. This is to remind people to take extra precaution for handling and disposal. So next we'll discuss by Hikoli.
Hello everyone. Number 4. Never pour oil down a drain or into the ground. Always use provide containers with proper lids without leaks to store used lubricants. 5. Always take extra precaution when handling the lubricants and avoid spills. Thank you.
Managing oil waste. Effectively managing oil waste is important both when we have control to prevent pollution and also after spill and contamination. Waste management as an operation is discussed in the 2014 YouTube video from the International Tanker Owners Pollution Federation or ITOPF entitled Waste Management. Next boss. And when I saw on the module that it has the link on the video that it said some oil should be desegregate on every managing that it can be recycled and can be reused on some other things. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Sige, 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 sige. Fire.
Gina?
Kunyara, pastor wa. Tayo eh.
Wala daw pastor daw.
Wa ang pastor gata eh. Stay. Wa ang pastor eh. Uwi kayo.
Sama nga. Yawa. Sige, fire. Sige, fire.
Open cam guys. Hotdog. Ma'am, thank you ma'am. Ma'am, icebreaker ma'am. Ikaw ang ice ma'am. Ang sarap. Ginabos, makinabos. Ako na stop ha.
Kanoy. Kanoy na.